I'm Nate Eaton outside the Bonneville County Courthouse, where we have just obtained an audio recording of the probable cause hearing held Thursday afternoon in the Brian Mitchell murder case. In this recording, we hear Idaho Falls police officer Josh Deede describe what happened the night before Deraek Larson was murdered and the morning that he was murdered. I do want to warn you, the details are graphic, they are disturbing, and they may be upsetting.
Deraek had been kicked out of his residence by his brother's roommate at about 1 o'clock Saturday morning.
That's how the chain of events began, according to the recording of the probable cause hearing. After Larson was kicked out of his house, he wandered the streets of Idaho Falls, and Detective Deede says he met some guys parked at Key Bank. One of the men, Brian Mitchell.
They had invited Deraek Larson into their vehicle because he was wandering around and it was cold at night. So they had invited him into the vehicle they were occupying, and to stay warm, they fell asleep in that vehicle during the night. They woke up the next day and they went to several locations in Idaho Falls.
Eventually, Mitchell, Larson, and a 16-year-old ended up at Tautphaus Park Saturday afternoon. Deede says they were drinking vodka and the conversation turned sexual. Again, the details you are about to hear are graphic.
Brian and Deraek started talking about oral sex and how they preferred their oral sex and what genders they preferred their oral sex. Who they preferred to have oral sex with.
Deede says the 16-year-old left the park around dusk, and Larson gave him a hug and kiss on the neck. Deede reports Mitchell says he then fell asleep on a picnic table bench.
When he wakes up, Deraek is providing Brian oral sex. Brian wakes up. He's startled by this. He said he was not into that, and he's not sure why Deraek would do that. And he proceeds to get up from the bench, and Deraek tells Brian, well, we were talking about it earlier, and you said you were okay with this, so it shouldn't be a big deal.
Deede says Mitchell then left the shelter and went to a nearby playground where he fell asleep inside a circular tube tunnel. He was awakened a short time later, and Mitchell tells detectives that Larson was on top of him wearing only boxer shorts.
Brian's statement was Mr. Larson was trying to pull Brian's pants down inside the tube. Mr. Mitchell says that he told Mr. Larson, stop, knock it off. If you don't knock it off, I will hurt you.
That's when a struggle ensued, and detectives say Mitchell pulled out a knife.
And he stabs Mr. Larson in the face.
Larson was stabbed over 20 times. After the violent attack, Mitchell says he ran from the park to his father's home.
He told his father that he had really messed up and that he's going to be going away for a long time. His concern was he had blood on his shirt, and so he had taken his shirt off and flipped it inside out.
Deede says Mitchell's dad drove him to his grandparents' house in Shelley, and Mitchell showered and put the bloody clothes in a plastic bag. The next day, police say he threw the clothes in a nearby river. Deede says Mitchell has changed a few details of his story, particularly those involving the sexual encounters.
He initially said that he was not involved in the oral sex. He's not that way. He doesn't like that, and then later on he changed his statement to yes, he may have agreed to it while he was, but he put a caveat on that he must have been sleeping when he agreed to that. Detectives say the entire attack took place there on the playground equipment, that after he was stabbed, Deraek Larson never left the slide area. Detectives say that the injuries were so bad that Deraek had skull fractures and some brain injuries. Stay with EastIdahoNews.com for the very latest on this developing story. Reporting at the Bonneville County Courthouse in Idaho Falls, I'm Nate Eaton, EastIdahoNews.com.